How many times have you felt afraid of not achieving something you deeply wanted? Has anyone ever pointed a finger at you, saying you're not capable or that it wasn't meant for you? Fear often arises from past experiences that left a mark on you, sometimes without you even realizing it, like a scene you watched on TV or a story a friend told you. Joe Dispenza explains that every shift in thought moves us closer to what we desire, strengthens us, and creates new emotions, all through an aligned mindset. The fear of losing something deeply impacts those who have achieved a certain level of success or stability, but it also paralyzes those who haven't, keeping them further from what they truly deserve. Avoiding action often reflects a fear of your own opportunities, rooted in a belief, whether conscious or unconscious, that you don't deserve success, happiness, or prosperity. This sense of unworthiness prevents bold actions and feeds a cycle of self-limitation, where abundance always seems just out of reach. There are fears that have a minor impact and others that are life-changing. 3 fears, in particular, can profoundly affect a person's life. Let's take a quick look at some of the less impactful fears before diving into the 3 key fears that have the potential to change your life. The fear of being criticized or rejected is one of the most subtle, often tied to not wanting to appear selfish, greedy, or materialistic to avoid envy from family or friends. It can surface when sharing ideas at home, at work, in a social circle, when discussing personal dreams or making choices that go against others' opinions. What's curious is how this fear drives us to seek approval, often at the cost of giving up what we truly want. In everyday life, it manifests as unspoken words or delayed dreams due to fear of judgment. Paradoxically, this fear isolates us, pulling us away from who we truly want to be, the authentic self that genuinely connects us to others. When it comes to responsibility, the fear of financial abundance often arises unconsciously. You might fear not knowing how to manage money, how to make it grow, or feel incompetent in handling it. The fear of the responsibility that abundance brings reflects the weight of the "what now?" question. What do I do? It's not uncommon for achievements such as an increase in income or greater visibility to bring doubts. How do I manage this? What if I fail? This fear shows up in small decisions like investing or taking on new commitments, and in the internal pressure not to waste opportunities. Interestingly, the fear isn't about abundance itself, but about the transformation it demands, pushing us to grow and take control. The fear of changing habits, mindset, and leaving the comfort zone acts as an invisible barrier, preventing steps toward the unknown. Despite wanting progress, the familiar provides a quiet comfort. Interestingly, this fear doesn't only emerge in major decisions, it lives in everyday moments, like hesitating to accept a new job or change old habits. The fear of overload or exhaustion of doing everything alone is often linked to the mindset of excessive work. It stems from the belief that achieving financial abundance or success in any area of life requires relentless effort. This reflects the delicate balance between ambition and self-care. It shows up in moments of decision: is taking on this project worth the risk? Or if I push myself harder, what will I sacrifice? Curiously, this fear isn't only physical but also mental, fueled by the belief that success demands effort and struggle. In daily life, it manifests in overpacked schedules or the kind of accumulated exhaustion that never seems to ease. This fear can paralyze us, blocking progress due to the worry of losing control. The fear of internal conflict raises questions like, will I still be the same person if I do this? It's an internal war with oneself. This fear arises when desires clash with values or when significant decisions challenge deeply rooted beliefs, creating a personal battle between growth and self-identity. It arises when desires clash with values or when important decisions challenge deeply rooted beliefs. Interestingly, this discomfort manifests in moments like receiving a promotion. You might feel pride, but also guilt for spending less time with family. In everyday life, this fear appears in seemingly simple choices, like prioritizing your career or following a passion, as both often seem to demand sacrifices. It carries the sense that any decision could harm parts of ourselves, creating a constant unease. What's fascinating is how, out of fear of facing these situations, many people avoid growth, preferring the comfort of indecision over the risk of feeling divided. However, it's precisely these conflicts that shape our identity, forcing us to question and adjust our path until we finally become who we truly are and want to be. All these fears are secondary fears that impact our lives. They're tied to our survival instinct. While fear might seem negative, it has its place when taken in healthy doses that don't paralyze us from pursuing our dreams. We are humans who fear failure, and if failure has occurred at some point in your life, your brain remembers and creates blocks based on those experiences. At every moment, we're challenged by what happens around us. These challenges often come with judgment, creating discomfort in our interactions with others. These fears mentioned earlier are nothing compared to the three main ones that hold you back from the extraordinary life you're meant to live starting today. The fear of not being worthy is the first and often silent companion that follows you every day. It is deeply rooted in limiting beliefs or past experiences of rejection. It shows up in small gestures, not accepting compliments, downplaying your achievements, or avoiding opportunities that could change your life. This feeling acts like an inner voice, constantly questioning your self-worth. It affects both those who have already achieved success and those striving to grow. Overcoming it requires embracing the idea that worthiness is not something to be earned, but something to be recognized. The second fear, the fear of losing what you already have, is tied to insecurity, your emotions, and the relationships around you. It's like a shadow that accompanies success, wealth, and full abundance. Often, it arises after significant achievements, a salary increase, buying a home, or the birth of a child. This fear manifests through repetitive thoughts like, "What if it all disappears?" which leads to anxiety. Such worries can cause stagnation, sabotaging future accomplishments. The final fear, and the most important of all, is the fear of failure, the fear of being humiliated on the journey toward abundance. This fear can paralyze anyone who isn't aware of it. It shows up even before the first step, whispering doubts like, "What if I try and fail?" or "What if everyone notices my failure?" This fear isn't limited to major decisions. It emerges in everyday situations: hesitation to start a course, launch a business, or even ask for a raise. The fear of failure is fueled more by the anticipation of shame than by failure itself. Many people avoid taking action, choosing the safety of inertia over the risk of making mistakes. This fear also distorts the perception of effort, making the goal seem difficult and insurmountable. But failure is part of the learning process. Every stumble reveals new possibilities. The real barrier isn't the mistake itself, but the lack of courage to face it and realize that, in the end, failure is just a stepping stone toward abundance and personal growth. We live in a world where it feels like everyone is watching and judging us. The fear of making mistakes or being criticized can hold us back from trying new things, all because of the question, "What will people think?" Dealing with the unfamiliar and accepting that not everything will go as planned is essential. But you know what's interesting? Fear isn't just an enemy. It can also be a teacher. When we face it head-on, we learn more about what truly matters to us, where our limits are, and how to overcome them. The secret isn't to avoid fear, but to understand that it's trying to protect you and to show you that you can go further. Being aware of your fears is like turning on a light in a dark room. Sometimes the fear is there, but we don't even notice it. When we become aware of it, we start to understand what's holding us back and why, and that's the first step to dealing with it. It all begins with self-awareness. Have you ever felt a tightness in your chest or the urge to run away from a situation? This is fear acting within you, and it's in this moment that you need to observe yourself. It shows up in different ways: anxiety, insecurity, or even procrastination you can't explain. When we pause and ask, "Why am I feeling this way?" we begin to truly see fear for what it is. Another helpful step is paying attention to the situations that triggered these feelings. Something happens, and fear awakens. It could be a memory, an event, or even something someone said. For example, if you fear public speaking, it might stem from a past moment when you were criticized or felt embarrassed. Introspection is another valuable tool. When we take time to reflect, whether by meditating, journaling, or simply thinking, we start identifying patterns. Why do I always avoid this? Or what am I really afraid of here? Often fear is connected to something deeper, like insecurity or fear of judgment. Talking to someone can also bring clarity. Sometimes, explaining what we feel to a friend, therapist, or mentor helps us put the puzzle pieces together. Speaking aloud helps organize our thoughts and pinpoint what's truly bothering us. An important point is that life gives us signs. Everything we've discussed here, if you've listened carefully, is meant for you. Sometimes we lose ourselves along the way, and rediscovering our true identity brings peace and clarity, helping us make decisions that align us with what we truly want. When we feel stuck, frustrated, or like we're living on autopilot, these are signs of a hidden fear controlling our actions. Recognizing these moments is a step toward gaining clarity. Information is also powerful. When we read about fear or hear stories of others who have overcome theirs, we realize we're not alone. This helps us identify our own fears and face them with less judgment. Becoming aware of fear isn't about eliminating it completely. It's about facing it, understanding its message, and taking action despite its presence. Fear stops being a scary monster and becomes an opportunity for growth. After all, we can only deal with what we acknowledge. Speaking of awareness, here's a playlist of videos that will help you explore ways to live a life with a fully aligned and abundant mindset. Subscribe to Mentalidade Alan Hada to receive new videos and stay connected to insights that can help you grow and keep your mind